One day, while the great pirate Captain Turkeyneck and his son Majestic were sailing in the middle of nowhere, they spied a group of mermaids at the bottom of the ocean. Following the mermaids closely, Captain Turkeyneck eventually spotted the Mermaid Palace. He turned to Majestic with a shout. "I've discovered the most powerful mermaid of the sea, Queen Latia!" Majestic thought fast. How to catch their attention? What to do? What to say? He flashed his best smile at the mermaids swimming by. Maybe this will work, he thought to himself. Meanwhile, below deck, Captain Turkeyneck was creating a mess, digging through an old chest filled with useless treasures he'd collected throughout the years. Finally, he found what he was looking for buried at the bottom. A magical coin known to hypnotise mermaids. Racing back on deck, Captain Turkeyneck told his son to stop smiling at the mermaids. He had found something that would catch their attention. He shouted for his pirates to quickly bring him bread. The captain tossed some bread into the water, which caught the attention of the Mermaid Queen. As she swam up beside the boat, her beauty left Majestic speechless. Her star-shaped fins moved gracefully through the water. As she came up close, Captain Turkeyneck held up the old rusty coin. He grabbed her crown pearl, switching it with the magic coin, and the Mermaid Queen was underneath his spell. Tentacles sprouted in place of her tail. Her long hair transformed into seaweed, and the Queen turned into a sea witch. As he switched her crown pearl with his magical golden coin, Captain Turkeyneck accidentally dropped the pearl into the ocean, where it sank beneath the waves. Queen Latia was now under the captain's spell. "Go and capture the 3 butterfly fairies, Atalia, Martina, and Adia. Their fairy powers will be mine forever." And at that very moment, the fairies Atalia, Martina, and Adia were on the beach playing volleyball, surrounded by animals and mermaids cheering them on. Suddenly, the mermaids turned and fled in panic, crying out that their queen was missing. As they waited by the ocean, Atalia noticed a shiny golden figure sitting on a rock nearby. It was a mermaid, but a new one they had never seen before. Excitedly, the butterfly fairies flew over to introduce themselves. As Martina noticed a shiny coin flashing on the mermaid's forehead, she suddenly pulled them into the water. The butterfly fairies were powerless, as the sea witch dragged them quickly through the water, so fast that she did not realise Atalia had come loose from her grip. Atalia floated helplessly in the ocean until 4 mermaids noticed her struggle and created a magic bubble all around her. One of the mermaids, Sorry, gently asked the fairy what had happened. Atalia tried to explain. She, Martina and Adia had introduced themselves to a new mermaid they'd never met before. She was shiny and gold, with fins shaped like a star. Then her hair turned to seaweed, and she dragged us into the ocean. She swam so fast, she couldn't keep hold of me. Sorry frowned. The only mermaid with a fin-shaped star is Queen Latia, she said. As the royal queen of the mermaids and the starfish of the ocean sea, she wears a white crown pearl in the middle of her forehead. But she did not have a pearl, Atalia cried. She had a golden coin that began to glow. Alarmed, Sorry told the other mermaids to begin a search for a mermaid with hair like seaweed and a golden coin on her head. Atalia informed the mermaids that Adia and Martina were with her. Hopefully, they had enough butterfly magic to protect themselves. Under the captain's spell, the sea witch Latia dragged Adina and Mattia towards Captain Turkeyneck's ship. Sneakily, Mattia used her magic to leave traces of rainbow flowers until her magic ran dry. Noticing Mattia's plan, Adia took out her pouch of butterfly magic and drank half, giving the rest to Martina. As they neared Captain Turkeyneck's ship, Martina noticed a white pearl glowing at the bottom of the ocean below the trail of magical flowers. Suddenly, the sea witch turned toward the surface, and the fairies noticed that the ship looked strangely familiar. The sea witch tossed them aboard the ship, where they landed with a loud crash. Footsteps came near, and as they looked up at the pirates, they noticed Captain Turkeyneck and his son Majestic. The captain was grinning triumphantly. Surrounded by pirates, Martina and Adia were completely powerless. Captain Senor Turkeyneck threw them inside a wooden cage with a laugh. "Haha, good job, Queen Latia. Or should I say, Sea Witch." Suddenly, he realised there were only 2 butterfly fairies. He began to pace up and down the deck. Where was the other butterfly fairy? The one with the wand. "I captured her as well," the Sea Witch replied. "I made sure I had all 3 fairies. Yet she must have come loose from my grip. But I brought them to you, as you had asked." Counting only 2 fairies in the cage, Captain Turkeyneck sent the Sea Witch back to the ocean in search of Adelia. Huddled inside the wooden cage, Martina and Adia knew they had to do something to free themselves. They needed to remove the golden coin from the Queen. But, exhausted and tired, the risky fairies were doomed without their fairy magic. As long as they were wet, their magic would not work. Captain Senor Turkeyneck placed them under his pirate's watch and told them to place the fairies in direct sunlight. "Line them up with the colour of the rainbow so they can dry and restore their magical butterfly powers. Once that's complete, their powers will be mine forever." With Captain Senor Turkeyneck in control, the pirates were confident. But one had his doubts. His name was Gino, and he adored butterfly fairies. A long time ago, fairy dust had landed on his shoulder, giving him good luck for an entire week. As the pirates laughed at the 2 fairies inside the cage, he walked out of the room. That afternoon, Gino snuck over to the cage, picked it up, and placed it next to a tiny window so the rainbow magic could shine on their wings. "Why do the captain and his son always want your magic?" Gino asked. "Why can't they look up at the stars at night and make a wish, as everyone else does?" "Your captain needs our magic to grant countless wishes for treasure," Adina responded, exhausted. "He wants to become the most powerful butterfly fairy who ever lived." "He has tried before," Martina added, "and wasn't successful at all. They need our magic and all our magical butterflies to control all the magic of our island and find the great butterfly fairy amulet." Gino was worried. That didn't sound good at all. Meanwhile, far away, Adelia rose from beneath the ocean waves and floated above her village. With a great cry, she warned all the butterfly fairies about the Sea Witch on the loose, out there in the ocean waters. The witch had captured Martina and Adia, and they needed help. All the butterfly fairies were devastated. Agreeing to take the risk, they gathered up their magic and everything they might need to get Martina and Adia back. Adelia waved her wand and created a magic bubble for everyone to swim inside, just as Sorry had shown her. "We'll be safe inside here," she said. "Once we reach the bottom of the ocean, the mermaids will help us search for Martina and Adia and the Mermaid Queen." Sorry was waiting under the waves. When all the butterfly fairies had gathered in the bubble, she informed the fairies to follow. The mermaids had noticed strange, colourful flowers floating in the water, and they followed the trail until it suddenly ended in the middle of the water. The mermaids and fairies split up, swimming north, south, east and west. "Once you find them, give a shout," Sorry instructed. "Then us mermaids can follow the trail of vibrations and find you." Everyone agreed, and they split up. Adelia and Sorry continued south until they discovered a ship in the distance. As they approached, Adelia was suddenly caught by a strong current that dragged her away from the ship, leaving Sorry alone. Sorry turned to give chase, following the purple glow of Adelia's wand in the distance. She caught a glimpse of green seaweed hair and glowing eyes, and found the Sea Witch circling Adelia, forming a mighty whirlpool to trap the fairy. Aiming her wand of light directly at the glowing eyes, Adelia gained complete control of the whirlpool's current. As she reached them, Sorry held out her hands and called upon the ocean, sending a giant wave in the direction of the glowing eyes. As the Sea Witch was knocked back, Sorry noticed the fins, shaped like a starfish. Sorry pulled Adelia away from the strong current and made their escape, swimming as fast as they could. The mermaid looked at Adelia with concern. "If the Sea Witch wanted me, she had the opportunity to take me," she said. "But instead, she swam right past me and focused on you. What does she want from you?" "I have no idea," Adelia responded. "I don't know who she is or what she wants from me. I just want Adia and Martina back." Sorry thought about the witch and her star-shaped fins. Only Queen Latia has a fin shaped like that. What if the sea witch is Queen Latia? She thought. No way, she said out loud. There's no way Queen Latia would ever harm anyone. Atalia had an idea. The fairy waved her wand and showed Sorry an image of a sea witch's face. In shock, Sorry said she was wearing a golden coin. They both knew they had to take a risk, to go back and capture the sea witch and find out what she wants from the butterfly fairies. As they raced after the ship, Sorry and Atalia noticed glowing green eyes coming from the corner of the room, next to a rusty old fireplace from a shipwreck. The closer they got, they noticed a soft glowing light. That's when Atalia created an illusion of Martina, Adina and herself swimming all around, discovering the glowing eye was nothing but a stingray. Watching the stingray leave, it floated up, then swam away. That's when Atalia and Sorry noticed a boat floating up above the ocean water. They knew they needed to get a clear look at the ship, to scout for fairies and any dangerous pirates. Atalia asked Sorry to lift her out of the water so she could pop the magic bubble she was floating inside and fly around to get a closer look. As she lifted off above the waves, Atalia used her magic to turn herself invisible. As she flew in close to the ship, she spotted Captain Turkeyneck and Majestic sitting at a round table. There were maps all over the wall, maps of the fairy village. Atalia turned away to search for Adia and Mattia until she overheard Captain Turkeyneck bragging about his plan. He boasted about a magical golden coin that could control a mermaid queen. He laughed as he described how he turned her into a sea witch, which would buy him time to capture all of the Mermaids Treasure at the bottom of the ocean. Atalia realised that Captain Turkeyneck was up to no good once again. He had turned Queen Latia into a sea witch. The captain warned his son that the golden coin's magic would only last a few more days. "She must bring me the missing fairy," he growled. "The fairy that has the wand. I believe she holds the key to reveal to us their village and where the fairy amulet is located." Atalia left the room, intent on finding Adia and Martina. Flying around the outside of the boat, she found a small tiny window with a tiny cage, just visible inside. As she landed nearby, she sighed with relief. Her two friends were safe. Atalia took a deep breath and tiptoed towards the cage. Aiming her wand to unlock the cage, the wand magic flickered, discovering her fairy dust magic was powerless. That's when Atalia walked along the side of the cage, calling her name. Freaking out was Gino, telling the fairies, "I need to lay down. I feel sick from hearing tiny dust of butterflies sparkling around me, speaking to me, then disappear." Atalia moved in closer to the cage, then whispered, "It's me, Atalia. I'm here to rescue you both with a mermaid named Sorry," keeping a lookout to make sure we've escaped away from Captain Turkeyneck's boat. As she waved her wand, tiny butterflies unlocked the cage, setting them free. "Thank goodness you found us sailing in the middle of nowhere," Adia said with a smile. "We must help the mermaids. Their queen has been hypnotised." "It was Captain Turkeyneck," Martina added. "If we can get the queen's pearl back, maybe we can destroy the golden coin." Still invisible, Atalia swirled her wand, and Martina and Adia floated up into the air, her spell restoring the magic light of rainbow butterflies onto her wings. Atalia called to Sorry from the window and let her know she'd found her friends. Sorry dived beneath the waves and sent a message to the other mermaids. They had found the two butterfly fairies. The first fairy to leave was Adia, floating down inside a magical bubble. Martina started to follow, when suddenly Captain Turkeyneck grabbed her from behind. "Going somewhere?" he growled. Pirates rushed into the room, ready to capture more fairies. Martina took a risk and flipped up over the captain, landing on Captain's hat and flying away out of the window. That's when Captain Senior Turkeyneck said out loud, "That's impossible for the fairy to fly, because they don't have any rainbow magic around their wings," telling his pirates after those fairies. Atalia waved her wand and turned herself visible, giving Captain Turkeyneck and his pirates a sly wink before following Martina out of the window. The witch's tentacles reached out and grasped the fairies, trapping them in place. "Finally, I have captured you three," she hissed. "Now you belong to me." Calling on her magic, the witch hypnotised the fairies, ordering them to hand over their magic. Sorry now found herself trapped between the witch in front and the other mermaids chasing behind. As the waves became weaker and weaker, Sorry waved her arms to catch the witch's attention. "Yoo-hoo! Excuse me, dear queen. I have something to show you. Something much more powerful than fairy magic." Mesmerised by the bright glow coming from the pillow, the sea witch's grip on the fairies loosened. "What could you possibly offer me that is more powerful than these fairies?" she snarled. But the glow of the pearl was strong, and the witch could not take her eyes off it. "I've seen this pearl before," she murmured, slowly moving it closer. It was a gift from the king of the ocean himself. As the sea witch approached, her eyes began to soften in wonder. Sorry glanced back at the risky fairies, hoping they were all right. A blast of rainbow light surrounded the witch and the other mermaids, freeing them from the sea witch's spell. As they opened their eyes, the risky fairies heard a faint cry from the sea witch. "Oh no! What have I done?" "Queen Latia," Martina called. "It's not your fault. You didn't do anything." "You were under Captain Senor Turkeyneck's spell," Adelia chimed. "He replaced your pearl crown with a magical golden coin and hypnotised you, turning you into a sea witch." "It's good to have you back, Queen Latia," Adia smiled with glee. As the mermaid queen leaned forward, the pearl floated up and attached to the queen's forehead with a flash of bright white. As Queen Latia turned to face the cluster of fairies and mermaids, they bowed before her. With a smile of pride, the queen marvelled at how every mermaid and butterfly fairy had come to her rescue. "My words cannot express how grateful I am for your courage and dedication," Queen Latia announced. "Thank you, my mermaids and butterfly fairies, for leading my crown pearl. Although I cannot remember what happened to me, I will never forget that you rescued me from that awful pirate spell. Thank you all for helping me transform back into myself." There was a great cheer from the surrounding mermaids and fairies, until the mermaid queen waved her hands for silence once more. "My greatest gratitude goes to you, the risky butterfly fairies, and you, my dear Sorry. You are the true heroes." Another cheer, and all the fairies and mermaids bowed once more. Not to the queen this time, but to Sorry and the risky fairies. "Soon we will all gather to celebrate," the queen said. "But before any celebration, we need to get rid of Captain Turkeyneck and his troublemaking son once and for all." Together, they crafted the perfect plan. Queen Latia asked the butterfly fairies to show her the exact location of Captain Turkeyneck's boat. The risky fairies agreed. The mermaids surrounded Queen Latia, giving the appearance that all was still under the captain's control. Queen Latia looked up at all the butterfly fairies and told them to make themselves invisible. "When you hear me speak, turn yourselves visible again." Everyone agreed. Back on his ship, Captain Turkeyneck was standing before his pirate flag, surrounded by his crew. "Once the sea witch brings me back all three of those risky butterfly fairies, we will all share their butterfly magic, wishing for us to have a bigger boat and more." The pirates around him cheered. At the back of the crowd, Majestic looked at his pocket watch at the back of the crowd and asked, "Why is everyone cheering for him?" he asked Delirious. "They should be cheering for us." Majestic continued to brag until everyone on the ship could hear his conversation. "Think about it, Delirious. My plan was perfect. If I'd never stopped to get these pirates, the two of us would have found the butterfly amulet on our own." Delirious nodded in agreement. "I remember, Majestic. I recall you telling the captured butterfly fairies that you wanted to become the most powerful butterfly fairy in the world." The pirates around them laughed, and Majestic began to blush. Delirious laughed as well. "Don't you remember telling the fairies that?" "Too funny." Suddenly, Delirious thought he heard a giggle coming from above him. Floating invisibly above them, the risky fairies knew he was telling the truth. There was a shout from the front of the ship. "The witch is back!" Captain Turkeyneck roared. "And she has her 3 risky fairies with her. The famous Captain Senor Turkeyneck," the queen called, her voice still sounding like a sea witch. "It was my pleasure to capture these 3 fairies for you, oh great pirate captain." The captain laughed and ordered her to swim closer. As she approached, Queen Latia rose from beneath the waves, and once more her beauty was breathtaking. "Now," she cried, "let's get them all." Surprised by the sudden attack, the pirates tossed out nets, trapping many of the mermaids. That's when the butterfly fairies revealed themselves. Showers of rainbow magic fell upon the pirates, and the boat rocked back and forth, threatening to sink beneath the waves. Queen Latia lifted her starfish wand and turned to the risky fairies. "Is there anyone in particular that you would like me to send away?" she asked. The fairies thought for a moment, then turned their magic on Majestic and Delirious. They floated the two pirates, kicking and shouting above the Queen. "These two always wanted to become fairies," they laughed. Queen Latia aimed her wand, and Majestic and Delirious vanished with a loud popping sound. The other pirates began paddling away, and over the sound of the waves, they heard Captain Senior Turkeyneck shouting, "This isn't over, but for now we must get away." Shouting and roaring, the boat disappeared over the horizon. A cheer rose from the assembled mermaids, and fairies cheered. Martina, Adia, and Adelia danced and laughed. "We have a feeling we will not see Captain Senior Turkeyneck or his pirates for a very long time." Together, the fairies and the mermaid returned to the beach to begin their celebrations. As they laughed and danced on the beach, Adia, Martina, and Sorry begged Adelia to use her wand and show them Majestic and Delirious as fairies. Finally, Adelia gave in and agreed to show them just one time and never again. She waved her wand, and an image appeared in the air before them. Sitting on a cold stone rock were Majestic and Delirious. "Look at my sparkly wings, Delirious!" Majestic laughed happily. "Look at my ears, I feel invincible!" Delirious looked at Majestic. His face was filled with contempt. "Great. You finally got what you always wanted, to become the most powerless butterfly fairy who ever lived." With that, he turned and slowly moved away. Sorry and the risky fairies began to laugh once more, rolling in the sand. They were pretty sure they would not have any more trouble from these two for a very long time. Adelia whisked the cloudy image of Majestic and Delirious away. All of the mermaids and butterfly fairies enjoyed each other's company of living in a peaceful world.